everybody, and welcome back to Enjoy English with Mrs. A. I'm Mrs. A, and today's a very special day because we're going to look at collective nouns. A collective noun is a noun that describes a particular group. And in this case, we're going to be looking at collective nouns describing birdies. If you think we know all the collective nouns describing every bird, you got another thing coming. Because there are just so many we can barely keep track, especially considering that a single species can have multiple collective nouns. Now, when you speak about birds, there are some words, let's say some general words, that can work in multiple contexts. And you can use these collective nouns with every bird, such as a flock, a colony, a fleet, a parcel, or, pay attention to this one, a dissimulation of birds. Going through all the species and their collective nouns would take forever and a day, so we're just going to look over the most popular birdies. And remember the expression for today, the early bird gets the worm. This means if you wake up early, you can get a lot of things done. When it comes to birds of prey like the falcon and the hawk, you can say a cast of falcons, a cauldron of falcons, or a kettle of hawks. Surprised yet? Wait till you see the cardinal. Now, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the name of this birdie, and you're familiar with the religious meaning of the cardinal as well. Are we speaking about birds? It's very funny. When we speak about birds, they're the first to come over. And it's very cute. Here we have it. So I've been recording some other videos today. Monumental silence. No cat has disturbed the peace. The second I open my mouth to speak about birds, they're all lined up. Now, when we have a group of cardinals, we can call them pay attention to this one, a Vatican of cardinals, or a college of cardinals, or a radiance of cardinals. When it comes to chickens, you can have a clutch, like the bag, a peep, or a brood of chickens. A swim of cormorants, a swim, or a gulp, or a flight. This is just fascinating. And I'm sure you'll see that some of these names, some of these collective nouns that go with the birds are not chosen randomly. Sometimes they have to do with the appearance of the bird, with the feathers, with the habits or the habitat of that bird. And I'm sure you're going to love the collective nouns for crows. Now you can, I can barely say this. You can have a murder of crows, a congress of crows, but also a cauldron of crows. Oh my God. And the following is perhaps the most insensitive collective noun. I'm pretty sure it's not going to last very long and it's going to be renewed in the upcoming years. But if you have a bunch of cuckoos, you call that an asylum of cuckoos. Another way to call somebody crazy is calling them cuckoo. When you call somebody crazy nowadays, we need to make a clear distinction between somebody who is clinically crazy and somebody who's just, maybe different, or somebody who maybe has different reactions than what you might expect. But the term cuckoo is very, very popular. You're so cuckoo. I've been called cuckoo for having one too many cats, for example, and I'm totally fine. And I'm totally fine with it. Moving on, when we speak about doves, you can have a bevy of doves. And the word bevy is also used to describe a group of beautiful people. I've heard it in that context numerous times, like a bevy of actresses or a bevy of singers, for example. When we speak about ducks, we can have a raft of ducks, a team of ducks, a paddling of ducks, or a balding of ducks, if you can believe that. Eagles come in congregations, a congregation of eagles. The poor emu, such a pretty bird. Well, if you have many emus together, that would be a mob of emus. I can practically hear the music from The Godfather as we speak. Possibly my favorite. Flamingos. Now, when you have a group of flamingos together, you call that a flamboyance of flamingos. I think maybe because the flamingo has very spectacular feathers. It's not a usual bird. It's very extravagant. Flamboyant is just another synonym of ostentatious or extravagant. So a flamboyance of flamingos or cat or a stand of flamingos. Maybe because they stand on one leg, I'm thinking. In any case, isn't this fun? You can see how the words have their root in the behavior of the bird or in certain features of the bird itself. The hummingbird. This is probably one of my favorite birdies, and I even follow the hashtag hummingbird on Instagram. I'm such a big fan. They're so cute, and I can tell you, I know a lot of people who have bird feeders in Canada. It's quite popular to have a bird feeder outside your home to invite the hummingbirds. And a lot of people mount cameras close to the bird feeders to get a better view of the hummingbird and their behavior and study them a little. They're absolutely gorgeous birdies. And if you look at the collective nouns surrounding the hummingbird, you'll see the collective nouns are reflected in the birdie itself. You can have a charm of hummingbirds or a glittering of hummingbirds. Think about their feathers, know how they glisten. The effect when they fly, obviously we can't see it very well, but slow-mo, the effect when they fly is the effect of glitter. It's so beautiful. A shimmer of hummingbirds. And even a bouquet of hummingbirds. That is just so sweet. The jays. The jay is super popular everywhere. And when it comes in a group, you call that group a band of jays. Or a party of jays. Or a scald of jays. Or even a cast of jays. What do these collective nouns tell you? Probably that the jays are a little bit loud. Quite similar to the larks, which come in an exaltation of larks, an ascension of larks, a happiness of larks. Now, the lark is quite famous for having a very beautiful, very melodic song. If you can Google it right now, you'll hear it. So beautiful. Moving on to one of the serious birds of our collection today, and that would be the owl. I'm sure you know the owl as a magnificent bird. It's very well represented in Harry Potter, which I'm sure you've watched. And when we have a group of owls, that's going to be called a parliament of owls, or a wisdom of owls, or a study of owls, and even a glaring of owls. Now, to glare is to stare at somebody or something in an angry or fierce way. Kind of like my brother looks at my husband, always expecting to get him somehow. So you can see the words describing the owls are quite serious. Parliament, wisdom, study, glare. So the words do go with a bird. If you tried out our trivia exercise, I'm sure you're familiar with the collective noun for parrots. Can you remember it? If not, a group of parrots is called a pandemonium or a company. Pelicans come in a squadron. Penguins come in a colony or even a waddle. Think about, this is the waddle, the dance of the penguin, the way they walk, they waddle. Oh my God, the next one is just too funny. And it's funny for one reason alone. When you have a group of pigeons, you call them a dropping of pigeons. Can't. Oh, I'm gonna cry. A dropping of pigeons. Now, pigeon droppings, I have to tell you this, there's no way for me to avoid the topic. It's vocabulary after all. The poop of the pigeon and of birds in general, you called their poop droppings. Calling a group of pigeons a dropping of pigeons, well, let's just hope they don't mind, or else your car is gonna get it. The ravens, beautiful, beautiful birds, very popular in novels, very popular in mythology. They're symbols of good news and bad news depending on the color of the raven. And notice this about black birds. A group of black birds is called a murder. Why? You have a murder of ravens, a congress of ravens, congress. And even, sit down for this one, an unkindness of ravens. But wait, we have more. A conspiracy of ravens. The robin is a very pretty bird, and a group of robins is called a worm of robins. A mustering of storks, a flight of swallows, and when speaking about the most graceful bird of all, the swan, we have a ballet of swans, go figure, a lamentation of swans. Oh, this is so funny. Or even a whiteness of swans. You can call a group of turkeys a gobble of turkeys from the sounds they make, gobble gobble. Vultures come in a committee, a venue, a vault, or a wake. And our last birdie for today, the woodpecker, a descent of woodpeckers or a drumming of woodpeckers, which is exactly what you hear when their beak goes against the wood. A drumming of woodpeckers. For more collective nouns in relation to birdies, I recommend you visit www.countrylife.co.uk. I'm going to drop a link down below, or thisspruce.com. If you want to support me on my journey, please find my book on Amazon, and I'll see you next Monday with a new video. Bye!